Aye, tales there be aplenty in this cursed place.
Greetings mates, welcome to another episode of Piraes 365. Now I got a lot of requests to do this video, so I'm going to do it. It's going to be a trailer breakdown for the trailer we got yesterday for the Super Bowl. So just as a warning, this will have spoilers in it. I'm going to tie some things in the video that we saw yesterday into things we learned from the test screenings that some viewers have posted about on Reddit and some of my YouTube comments before. So piracy be warned for spoilers again. So the opening shot we get with the trailer, it looks like this scene could take place at the beginning of the film, or near the beginning of the film. We get a pirate who's on deck and a undead bird lands on the railing and he washes himself off with water, and in the background we can see some crew, but once he opens his eyes and looks around, the bird's gone, and instead it's in front of him and it squawks and then he screams. So my theory is that this is on the dying gull that Jack is captaining. Maybe she's showing this in passing. So that's my theory about what was going on in that scene.
And just a little fun fact, Garen D. Clout is the actor that we see at the beginning of the trailer, and he has been in such films as Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith and Gods of Egypt, which also star Jeffrey Rush and Brenton Thwaites.
And the music used in the scene is the same music cue we got in Dead Man's Chest and on Stranger Tides. First in Dead Man's Chest, when Will's sinking underwater and we see the shot of the Kraken, it's the same music used there. And when Jack goes underwater and he sees the large swarm of mermaids, it's the same music cue. So I like that they use music from the films in the trailer. So after the undead bird goes, we're shown the Jerry Bruckheimer logo, and then we see the new Disney Castle logo for Pirates 5. Hopefully this wasn't just for the trailer and they're going to include it at the beginning of the film, because it includes a ship crashed onto like rocks. It kind of reminds me of Skull Rock from Disneyland Paris, even though that has to do with Peter Pan. Everything kind of reminds me of the ride with just that shot of the Disney Castle. When I first saw it yesterday, I just thought that reminds me so much of the ride. Then the very next shot we get, surprisingly, is the Flying Dutchman emerging from the water. And I love that they kept continuity with that. It's the same way that the Dutchman comes out of the water. The first time we've seen it in Dead Man's Chest, and now we see it at World's End. And it's amazing that we're seeing the Dutchman this early in the marketing. So many people were doubting that we actually get to see the Dutchman in the film, but now this is confirmation of that. The next shot we get is Salazar like glancing sideways, and this most likely takes place during the scene at the beginning of the film that we see in the first teaser, when he lands on deck and he's like slaughtering the whole crew. And then we get a shot of the Silent Mary like going past rocks and we see all these undead birds. And I wonder if this is when the Silent Mary is escaping the Devil's Triangle. We know that Salazar gets released from the Devil's Triangle, so it'd be cool if this is like the shot of it coming out of the triangle and emerging into the sea. And then I suppose the next scene, we see like the inside of the Silent Mary as it's coming out of the water. I'm not sure what ship that is in the background. It kind of looks like the ship we see at the beginning of the trailer, but it could be a different one. And then we see the back of Barbossa with the ship coming out of the water. And then we see the Silent Mary and the Queen Anne's Revenge. Queen Anne's Revenge, yes. And then we just see Barbossa looking up like in awe at the ship coming out of the water. He doesn't even notice or even recognize Salazar behind him. And part of me thinks that maybe he didn't realize he's there, or the other part of me thinks that Barbossa knows he's there and he's like, he's dealt with this before, you know. Just a side note, Barbossa could say, you know, he's been undead, he's been cursed, he's been shot dead and then brought back to life, so he's been through it all. So Salazar probably doesn't intimidate him much, I would imagine, knowing his character. So with Barbossa not turning around going like, oh no, Salazar, it kind of just shows that he's not focused on him in the moment. So I can't wait to see that scene play out between those two pirates. And then we see a shot that reminds me of World's End, when Davy Jones is laying waste to all those ships at the beginning. But we see what I suppose is the Silent Mary laying waste to like 5+ ships. We just see cannon fire blasting, which is confirmation that we're going to get another cannon fight in this film. We just see Salazar killing indiscriminately. He's like killing any and every pirate he can. And then we hear this line from Ghost Ship to Farahani's character Shanza.
Dead have taken command of the sea.
And we see, it looks like she's talking to Barbossa, but I like that she's like a sea witch, kind of like Teodalma, Calypso. She has the lines on her face, and then we see that little mouse on her shoulder. But I wonder if this takes place in the Queen Anne's Revenge, but her line is very ominous for the film. And I think the next shot is Barbossa's entrance in the film. We see him coming out of the shadows, we see the peg leg and his crutch. And it looks like there's pirates off to the side, but I think this is on the Queen Anne's Revenge. But it reminds me of Blackbeard's entrance because Blackbeard comes out of the shadows, and Barbossa's coming out of the shadows, Barbossa comes out of the shadows and on Stranger Tides as well. So I love that entrance of his like outline character with his hat and his everything. And when Sansa says they're searching for Sparrow, I'd like to think this is Jack, maybe young Jack, putting his hat down, because you see his sash, you see his effects, his sword. So either this is young Jack putting his hat and everything down on like a ship deck or something, or barrels, or someone giving it to Jack. I can't wait to see who it is. And then we get a sweeping shot of an island, but then we see Karina washing up ashore. And then we cut to Salazar jumping off the top of the Silent Mary into the water. And him and his crew are like rushing toward the beach, and they're like racing towards it. And what I mentioned yesterday is that Salazar's crew can walk on water, and Barbossa's crew can walk underwater, so kind of like that sort of parallel between them. And then we cut to the Black Pearl riding the edge of this sort of crevasse that's open in the water, and this is where some spoilers come into play. From the test screening that someone who posted it on Reddit saw, they said that the Trident of Poseidon basically parts the seas, and so it looks like the Black Pearl is like riding around where the Trident is part of the seas. But if you look very closely, basically in the spoilers we learn that Barbossa like drops anchor off the Pearl, and that Salazar and crew are climbing up it, but then Barbossa uses a sword and he defeats them somehow, but it looks like you can see characters climbing up the line if you look very closely. But it's great to see the Pearl again. Sorry to mention in the video yesterday, there's so much to take in, but I love seeing the Black Pearl in its full glory again, full size. And then when it says this Memorial Day, we see Salazar's ship crashing through other ships, and there's like fire going around, and they just crash through, they don't care. They're just like killing whoever they want to. In other words, Deadman comes up and automatically flashes to Will. And as we see, Will's in the Flying Dutchman, and he has barnacles on his face like Bootstrap, but he's looking concerned about something, and like the scene takes place at nighttime, so I'm not sure what's going on with the scene. And I'll get into more of this in a future video, but part of the reason that I think why Will has barnacles on him is that maybe he was released from the curse, but Elizabeth may have a bigger purpose. Maybe she has a bigger role because she's the Pirate King, and so he couldn't go back to her because she's off doing something else, and that's why she's in the end credit scene. So maybe he had to go back to service, but he's like falling back on his duty or something like that. But I will do a video about that later. And then I love this underwater shot of this like shark going by the camera. We see through its like rib cage. So this basically confirms the zombie sharks we saw in previous marketing before, and the Shark Attack soundtrack title. And you see like a body on top of the water. It reminds me of the shot of the body falling on top of the East Indian Trading Company flag and at World's End. And then it says the word no. And then it shows a pirate flag burning down and going to the ocean. And I think it's kind of symbolic of Salazar wanted to kill every pirate on the sea, because it's showing like pirates are dying and the flag is burning and dying. And then another part of spoilers that we got from the Reddit viewers and the YouTube viewers who saw the early screening of the film. We see a muddy hand place Jack's compass on a table. Then we see it's Jack Sparrow, but he's covered and caked in mud. And then he says, "Pirate's life." And then we see him drinking rum. So basically in the film, it was revealed that Jack trades his compass for rum. And that's part of the reason why Salazar gets unlocked from the Devil's Triangle. But that goes into a larger story that I'm not going to get into now. And then we go to the skull that we saw at the end of the first teaser. And then that's the end of the teaser. So just a couple observations. The first one is that they're playing Johnny Cash in this trailer. Kind of like they played Johnny Cash in the Logan trailer. A lot of people pointed that out, that either they're copying it or the Johnny Cash kind of fits. But I think the song fits because he's talking about, you know, no grave can hold him, kind of about the ghosts being the villains of this film. But someone online pointed out on Reddit that one of the lines in the song is when trumpets sound, and in the trailer when we hear that line, the next shot we see is of Barbossa, and Barbossa says this in Curse of the Black Pearl.
So what now, Jack Sparrow? We to be two immortals locked in an epic battle until Judgment Day and trumpets sound.
Trumpet sound, I'm gonna rise right out of the ground.
So I don't know if that was intentional, but it's kind of a cool connection if that wasn't. So all in all, this was a great and exciting trailer again. I hope this breakdown brought more insight into the trailer for you. I hope you can go back and watch it and be like, oh, I didn't notice that before. If I missed anything, please let me know in the comments below. I can do another video like this and delve even deeper into it. But I had fun rewatching the trailer like 100 times so far, so thanks for your love and support and comments. I really do appreciate everything you guys do for me, and I love the support of the Pirates of the Caribbean fandom. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. And remember, it's a #Pirates Life. Ta.